Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, I hope that you will enjoy your stay. In today's video, we are doing some fun watercolor flower doodles, and I always loved doing these and I find them so relaxing, so inspirational. I don't know why I said inspirational, but I do find them inspirational and they make me feel so creative whenever I make them. They don't require a certain painting or drawing skill level, so just feel free to grab a paper, a pen or a pencil and some watercolor and just follow along with me. If you do follow along, send me a picture with your final artwork on Instagram. Lately, I've been also trying to add some shading to the doodles, even though there are some simple illustrations. Some shading always just adds a little something to them and it makes them more interesting to look at. I also brought my cat to say hi to everyone. Say hi. No? Okay. She's been sleeping all day and she's so sleepy because it's been raining outside for like the past 5 hours or so. And she can sleep in any position you put her, so I just leave her like this and she will eventually just fall asleep in my arms. Can you hear her purr? Because she's purring so loudly. Should I bring her closer? Wait. I'm gonna let her sleep so we can continue with our illustration. I began by sketching all of the plants and leaves that I wanted to make. I sketched them out on paper, on an A5 paper. I recently actually bought this Kanzen one. It's a watercolor paper and I never used this one before, but I have to say I was pleasantly surprised because it actually made my sketching process easier as well. Not only when I use watercolors on it, it's just really good with pencil and I could erase everything, every line I traced really well. And before, on the paper I was using before, it was not that easy. It would always just leave like a mark behind, or I had to erase it really hard in order for the paper to be white again. But here with this new paper, I had a really good experience with it. One thing that I really want to learn how to do is to draw better flowers or to doodle better flowers, however you want to take it, because I always think I'm not good at it. Like, even with these ones right here that I made, I don't like them that much and I feel like I could have made them better, but I feel like the more you do these type of doodles and the more you practice them, you're gonna get better at them eventually. One thing that I find easy to do is to go on the iPad or whatever drawing tablet you have and take a picture with some flowers or just any plants in general and just put it in Procreate or whatever program you want to use and just draw over it. Just sketch the flowers that you see there, and I feel like that's really good practice for these type of illustrations, because in that way you can see how the petals are turning or how to shade them better or how just to draw them better. So I got myself used to sketching everything out on paper first, because in this way, especially with this type of illustration that I'm doing here, I can see which leaf goes on top of the other or which one goes under, in what way they are turning or stuff like that. And shading is way easier to do if I see how the illustration is gonna look like at the end. This is my favorite part right here because I started shading everything. The leaves were pretty easy to add shade to, but the flowers and the petals were pretty difficult just because they were closing in on each other and it was pretty hard to get the right amount of shading that I needed to add. But I feel like I figured it out in the end and it looked pretty nice. This flower right here was pretty challenging for me because I never did it before on paper. I always did it on my iPad. I actually started doing one on my iPad and I did it the way I told you before. Like, I searched for an image off the internet that I like. Well, actually I think I found an image on Pinterest and I just used it because I thought it was interesting and I liked the way the flower was in the image. And yeah, I just traced the flower and then I added shading based off how the flower had shading in that specific picture. And I think that was helpful and I really love doing that. And one thing, I actually spoke about this in my latest video too, about the fact that it's way easier for me to do anything digitally because you can just undo really quickly and get back to the original, or just do it 100 times all over and over again and no one will know how much you struggled to do a certain illustration. But when you are on paper, I feel like the process is way different, and for me it's quite harder because you can always mess it up and it can turn out not the way you want it to. But I feel like it's good practice, and in a weird way I like doing things on paper more than I like on the iPad. I mean, it's a different experience in both mediums, right? On paper, it's a different feeling. If you do something digitally, it's a different feeling. So I like both the same, but it's just way easier to do it on the iPad, to draw on the iPad, or to doodle, or to sketch anything. So here I started adding some watercolor puddles, which in my opinion, I feel like this is what gives these doodles life and makes them more interesting to look at. I really love these types of illustrations because I always felt like they make the perfect cards for your loved ones. You can give one as a present for Valentine's Day. Even speaking of Valentine's Day, next week I'm gonna post a video and I'm doing some cards for Valentine's Day. So yeah, I hope you're excited for that. I was talking about the fact that these type of illustrations make the perfect cards for your loved ones or a friend or whoever you might want to give a card to. And you can take an A5 size paper and just fold it in half, and there you have it. You have your perfect card. Or even on the A5 paper, you can just write somewhere in the corner like happy birthday, happy graduation, or whatever you write on the card. So yeah, I think that's it. This was the last illustration that I did. I hope you like the colors that I chose for the watercolor background. I really like that green, the green from the first doodle. It's my favorite shade of green right now. I also like the other green, but hey, I didn't want to make them the same color, so I changed a bit into a warmer green for the last one. So yeah, this is the last one. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think of how they turned out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. Goodbye.